Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here back with another video, and I have a very special surprise for you today. About a month ago, Firebird Bricks reached out to myself, SW Bricks, as well as Coconut Brick Studios, and he propositioned us to do a challenge, a 30-day clone-based build challenge. When he told me this, I was instantly on board. Now, if you guys aren't aware, I've never actually built a clone base if we're not including the Camino that I'm currently working on, so I was a little bit concerned about how this would actually turn out, but after this long journey and finally finishing up the build, I am extremely happy with the final result. So this is a monumental time in history. This is Rich Boy J's first official clone base video. Feels very weird to be introducing this, but I'm going to stop talking and let's get into the mod. To differentiate the builds, we wanted to pick our own legions and locations. I ended up with Scarif and Phase 1 Clone Troopers, one of my favorite locations and my favorite clone trooper. So I definitely set myself up for success when getting started with this build. And now I will give you guys a video walkthrough of my clone base on Scarif. That still sounds so weird to say. So to start things off, the base is easily what took the longest amount of planning and design work. You can see that it is obviously circular, but it has a bit of a slant to it as well. So the walls are curved, but they're also slightly slanting up. One of the things I was initially concerned about when doing this specific design was covering up too much of the landscape. Obviously, one of the criterion that we decided for this competition was landscape, and I still wanted this to be like very obviously a Scarif build. So I think the palm trees in the front and the back certainly help. I did probably want to add a little bit more water. My idea was I wanted to have kind of like a waterfall section in here, similar to how in the base of Scarif, the Citadel and Rogue One, there's like a big waterfall around, there's like a big like, I guess, reservoir around the base where water is just constantly fed into it. And that was kind of my idea of building this right here. I wanted to instead have them along the sides. And I think it worked out pretty well, but I think ideally, you know, if this MOC were expanded, there would be, you know, more water around it. It would look more like it's on an island. I was very happy to use this same palm tree design that I've been using pretty much since the very first Scarif MOC I made back in the day with my boy Garrett. I really found myself loving using these 3 petal leaf pieces. I just love how you can cluster them all together and it gives you a really full and dense looking foliage. That's one of my biggest things when it comes to Lego and doing grass work. I always want it to look dense, but I don't feel a lot of the piece that Lego makes is really conducive to making it look at least naturally dense, in my opinion. But what I was able to come up with here, just kind of, you know, connecting some of them, but also just having some of them laying freely in there, I think worked out quite well. I was also pretty happy with this door design that I came up with here. I love that little pop of dark tan that's in there. I think that looks nice. I think the arc section that sits above the frame of the door also looks really cool. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that we have a Republic fighter tank chilling here in the hangar. Got some dark red arrows here to denote, I guess, what direction it should go if it wants to leave the hangar. Boom, right there, everything's self-explanatory. You don't even have to think about it. One of the things that I for sure wanted to highlight on this build that I'm honestly curious if anyone has even noticed it up until this point of the video, but I've actually built the Republic logo into the base of this build. You can see there's the little stripes that go out and then kind of the circular pattern that lines it. This probably added a lot more time to this build than I would have liked. For something that honestly most people might not even notice, but hopefully now that I've mentioned it, you've noticed it and you get at least a little bit of appreciation out of it. Lining the edges of the base, we have these turrets that can be manned by clone troopers, and I quite like this design. I think it looks pretty cool. I also think that just the placement of them is really nice, just having them basically at each corner of the build. It looks cool. And also, I guess from a strategic standpoint, it would definitely help them defend the base. Drawing more inspiration from Imperial architecture, you can see that I've recreated that iconic Star Destroyer window pattern here. I thought, especially with the slant that we had here, it just made sense to do that window pattern. So we have that going along the sides there, and we even got that boy Yularen looking out over Scarif, which is pretty fun. And then we have this large circular section that pretty much goes all the way to the top of the build. This also took quite a bit of time to just figure the angles out and get everything to fit properly. I'm very happy with the way it came out. I think that ideally I would have loved lights. Like, my idea was to have like a big like glowing section kind of permeating through the windows, but fortunately time did not permit me to add lights to this build, which is kind of unfortunate. But I think you guys get the idea, and at least the architecture was pretty much finished up. If we go to the top of the build, we can see we have a clone sniper here. He is perched at the top along this circular walkway, and there's also a little entrance for an elevator. Another plan for this mock was to have a functioning elevator, and I tried it out, and it was just not really working. If I had more time, I would have definitely been able to implement it, but I was one of the last things I tried to do, and I was just like, nah, this is just not going to happen, unfortunately. But if you want to use your imagination, you know, there is an elevator, and it basically actually traverses from all the way up here down to the lowest level in the build. You can't really tell from this angle, but once I open it up, you'll for sure be able to see it. And then, of course, we have to look at this giant satellite dish that is on top of the mock. I guess, I don't know, maybe the like more Scarif appropriate aesthetic would be this, but I don't know, I really like the way it looks when the satellite dish is backwards on this build. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. You're a bigger fan of the satellite dish being positioned backwards or forwards? Definitely let me know. And then we have a few clone troopers outside on the platform doing patrols, keeping watch. Now that we've pretty much covered all the exterior, I wanted to show you guys how the base opens up. And we're going to start off with the top half of it. So these panels here they basically flap down. We got kind of like the second level is more of like a, I don't know, like a strategical planning type area. This is where you see, you know, a bunch of consoles, maybe like a debriefing room of sorts. But yeah, I just got a few consoles with some clones manning them. And then we have that dark red elevator shaft that goes, like I said, from the top to the bottom. I pretty much built this entire thing around the idea of a functioning elevator. So it definitely, so it's definitely set up for success. It just didn't quite turn out that way, unfortunately. And then similarly, you can remove the panels from the other side. So as we saw earlier, we got Admiral Yularen looking out through the window, 2 clone troopers behind him, and then this clone trooper is on that console right there. So, you know, so while like the main clone area is down on the bottom level of the base, this is probably where more of the higher ups would be hanging out. And now, speaking of the bottom of the base, as I'm sure you could probably figure out from that Republic fighter tank poking out at the front, that does open up as well, just due to the way this thing is designed. But I think it's actually really cool the way this all works out. So if we remove these clone troopers, these panels are pretty much all just resting. They don't connect to anything. So you first start off by removing these skinnier panels here. And then once those skinnier panels are removed, you can remove these bigger panels, and these pretty much slide right out from the build. And just like that, we finally have an accessible interior. Starting with the front half of the interior of the base, you will see we have a better look at the Republic fighter tank section, and we have a clone trooper captain who is appropriately matching the colors of the Republic fighter tank, and he's just hanging out there by that vehicle. We got a few clones who are outside their helmets, just chilling here in this hangar area. And I really would have liked to have added more to the hangar, like some cargo crates. I really wanted to add like a multiple rooms in this half of the interior. I want to have like, you know, the hangar kind of be the middle and maybe do like a cafeteria and like an armory, but time unfortunately just didn't permit that. I really had to rush through and just get all this tiled up so it looked halfway decent. And then towards the back, we have the actual barracks with 8 beds that are kind of lining the circular wall. Got a helmet chilling on one of the beds, and they all have pillows. They have Republic regulation pillows, which are super comfy from what I hear. And yeah, this is basically just the barracks area. Not really too much to talk about. I will say getting those walls to work and pretty much building all this interior was a super hassle for no other reason than the fact that I had already built up pretty much all the exterior of this build before trying to attack it. And you can imagine like getting your hands in there and trying to build up those walls with like the beds and everything. And I will say like these like roller coaster pieces are part of like the structure, so I couldn't even remove those. And that made things very complicated when trying to just get my hands in here and work on this interior. So it probably wouldn't have taken so long, but the fact that I saved this interior for last definitely had me getting like carpal tunnel trying to maneuver my fingers around everything in there. It's kind of hard to tell, but I did add a medical bay with a couple of back tanks next to the barracks. And that's going to finish the video today, guys. I hope you enjoyed checking out this base that I worked quite hard on. Super happy with the exterior. I know the interior leaves a little bit more to be desired, and if I had time, I definitely would have fully loaded the thing up. But, you know, it was, you know, a time-limited build, and I'm already late with this video as it is, so can't complain too much. I think that for my first time, not only building a clone base, but building something that isn't canon, that is just basically from my imagination, I'm very pleasantly surprised with how it came out. I always kind of saw myself as a builder who not only wasn't really interested in doing custom stuff, but I always thought like, I'm not even sure if I could if I really wanted to. But now, having seen this thing come together, I'm convinced that it is something that I could do. So I don't know, maybe down the line you guys will see more custom non-canon builds by RichBoyJ. Actually, before I get into the mock, there's actually 2 things that I need you guys to do right now. First and foremost, like the video. Those likes do wonders for me with the YouTube algorithm, and it puts food on RichBoyJ's plate. For just 1 like a day, you can put food on my plate. And second, there's going to be a pinned comment in the comment section of this video. We actually wanted to get you guys involved with voting on these builds. So when you're done with this video, go check out the builds that the other guys did, and then go to the Google Forms link that I have in the comment section and vote and let us know who built the best clone base. But that's all I got for you guys. So if you like what I do, go ahead and support the video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing that subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.